improves the process. The other thing that you should know is this carrier out bundle, the pass-through of cost savings is 71.5%. So this is not one of those underwater products that you've asked about earlier today. So if the Postal Service saves $1, 71.5 cents is what the incentive would be for the mailers. So this is a good deal for the Postal Service.
Right. In your testimony before, at least part of it, you described the inefficiency with periodicals in that they were manually processed as something that was undesired and unnecessary on the part of the mailer. Can you flesh that out a little bit for me?
Sure. Basically, the Postal Service has spent billions of dollars on automation. And when you automate a process, you sometimes wind up with excess capacity. And you need to have that excess capacity utilized in some way, or otherwise people are standing around. And so what happens is things get created like these bullpens, which are basically hampers that are all lined up in a circle, and people come and take bundles and throw them in these hampers designated to various zip codes in an area. And so that manual processing exists today. I saw it 3 weeks ago. I see it in every SCF that I go into, sectional center facility that I go into. It exists today. And after spending billions of dollars on machinery, they have to find a way to capture those savings and not do manual processing of mail today. I mean, it's a complete waste of time, and it exacerbates the costs for periodicals mailers. We just can't have that happen.
Is that I'm trying to get these straight in my mind. Is that flat sequencing system? Is that?
It's not even that. There are machines today that will sort bundles, and just like this. And so instead of sorting the bundles on the machine, they're sorted by hand, and that's just insane. The machines exist today, but the Postal Service segregates periodicals out, puts us on a manual processing. And the way that they track costs is something called the IOCS, which is an in-office cost system. And the way it works is like this. It's stop the music. So they stop the music and say, what are you holding? I'm holding periodicals. I'm charged to periodicals. Mr. Riley's holding a catalog. He gets charged to catalogs. Well, if you automate a process and you put manual labor on a certain class of mail, when you stop the music, more bodies are holding magazines, and we are attributed with the costs.
Rate case there, the exigent rate case that they plan to introduce in 2011. What are your major concerns with? They've indicated a moderate increase. Do you have any sense of what that means? I mean, we try to elicit from the earlier panel what that might actually constitute, but you might have a better idea. Shut that off. Thanks.
As you know, the Postal Service says that its Board of Governors speak for them, so I wouldn't want to speak for their Board of Governors. But the rumors on the street, and of course there are rumors on the street, is that moderate means under 10% and perhaps well under 10%. If you go read the trade press, you'll see that the trade press is reporting 5% for products that are covering their cost, 8%, 7%, 9% for products that aren't. I mean, that's all over the trade press. So that's not my number, that's trade press numbers.
Yeah. Is that what you're hearing, Mr. O'Brien, Mr. Davison?
Yes, I think that's very accurate. But the one point I'd like to make on that is they're talking about a higher than average increase for periodicals class and standard mail, which is the catalogers. And the point that I'd like to make is, before you do that, make sure that you get the cost right. People don't object to covering their costs, but they just want to make sure that the costs are right. Everyone should cover their costs, for sure. But just make sure that your costs are right before you arbitrarily increase someone's rates.
All right.
And I just add to that you have to consider where we are right now. We've just come through a very terrible recession, and the whole system is strained. There's just not a lot of ability to absorb large increases, and we are in a zero or near zero inflationary environment. and this is a time when jobs are very important. There's a lot on the line here. And
yeah, there is. No, I appreciate that, and we spoke to that earlier about the fragile nature of the Postal Service, so that we don't want to introduce any unnecessary shock, but we certainly do want to bring those products up to a point where they're closer to covering their entire cost. I mean, you can bring it up gradually over time, hopefully, but I understand the vulnerability is heightened right now.
When I ran a retail business, we would have products that weren't making the average markup, but we would use those to get people in the store and buy other products. And almost every business I'm familiar with has a variability between products of the profitability. And I would respectfully suggest we shouldn't look at the product profitability, we should look at the customer segment profitability and figure out how customers are using the service and what incents them to buy, so we can continue to add value in that relationship and develop new products based on our keen understanding of their unique needs that aren't being fulfilled today. And I kind of concur with Dr. Riley on that point. And to the extent that you understand customer behavior, you can deliver products that they don't even know they need based on that understanding.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you all for your willingness to come before the committee today and help us with our work. I'm going to leave the record open for 5 legislative days for members to submit questions if they have any for you or for the first panel. And with that, I will declare this hearing adjourned. Thank you. Thanks. Hey, I like the hairdo. You sign up? Did you enlist? Yeah. I know, buddy.
Summer haircut for the
Oh, good for you. Good for you. Once around the block.
absolutely.
Yeah.
You get a chance. If you want to come in, I believe we have an FSS in Boston. If not Boston,
Oh, is that
I'd
right?
love to show it to you.
Hey, Mike, how you doing, brother? Good to see you.
Good to see you. I'd love to show it to you.
Yeah? Okay.
Just-
At the South Postal?
It's either at South Postal or Waltham.
Okay.
But some of the comments Mr. O'Brien was saying is way off course. I mean, the letter carriers don't open the bundles. They never have.
Yeah. Well, it's probably an anecdotal thing where you walked in and saw this thing going on.
And the bullpens a lot of times are missent. And the packaging there like that, a lot of times they cover the address. Yeah. And that's one of the other reasons the bullpens are included.
Yeah.
Because
He
it's
should have said
misset
that.
mail.
Somebody should have said that. Burris should have said that, you know. Picked up on that.
Just so you know.
Somebody